humanity qualifies for divine grace. Historical reasons why the Galactic Federation of Light is currently mandated to apply this just law. By Drekx Omega. Selamat balik dratzo. This article is one I've been asked to author, by and with, the Samanet Sirians, in order to clarify various reasons, under cosmic law, for an ET direct intervention into Earth humanity's affairs, in all areas, including culture, politics, terraforming, science and economics, etc. As this state of play has deliberately been a long time in coming, and the Galactic Federation of Light have been deliberately distanced from surface Earth cultural affairs, for centuries, until the heightened security alert of a possible 1980 nuclear war, required direct Galactic Federation of Light intervention and later, having passed the test, leading to East-West detente, a time came for a First Contact Initiative program, in 1992. This ET intervention program was permitted, under cosmic law, as changes to human DNA, RNA strands had been rapidly progressed in the 1980s, and the third strand of DNA, in many, was beginning to activate and communicate with the other two strands. That biological fact alone, with the resultant increase in consciousness, warranted a divine timing for a First Contact Initiative by the Galactic Federation of Light, which was also a time when the cosmic star nation of prime responsibility for surface Earth's human development was passing the official baton of responsibility for Sol, from the Plejares star nation to the Sirian star nation. Among the Samanet Sirians, you will find a massive will and passion to aid human spiritual advancement of surface Earth, leading to a fully fledged star nation and honored member of the Galactic Federation of Light. In contrast, a degree of skepticism had once been present among the Pleiadians that humanity would, or could, make that necessary leap in spiritual consciousness, and when a former Jishwish, named Plejares, passed his planetary baton of responsibility onto a new Jishwish, known as Vashtra, the stage was set for some rapid development fireworks in human history, and as you have seen over these past 2 decades, many things have changed in the world, as we move ever closer to a successful first contact. Exactly 2 decades ago the Anunnaki ceased their former role as ancient gods, and cruel surface Earth caretakers, and instructed their human cabal minions to turn to the light. All did, save one remaining and most stubborn cabal, we call the Last Dark Cabal, which is, in fact, Anglo-American in its geographical basis of power, a London-Washington axis, albeit global in scope and based upon those Illuminoid families of the West, chiefly the Rothschilds and Rockefellers, with several other families serving the cause of dark resistance to the lighted plan. Jishwish, a Lyran title adopted across humanoid Galactic Federation of Light star nations, which means, King of Wisdom, and is pronounced Ishwish. Females are known as Jishwish, albeit, they still remain kings, much as queens of ancient Egypt adopted the kingly mantle and official position of pharaoh. Note that the Lyrans are prime humanoid ET members of the Galactic Federation of Light and are genetically related to Earth people, as well as the Sirians and Pleiadians. Indeed, the first cosmic humanoids that arrived on Earth were actually Lyrans. Noting that the Lyrans explored, settled and colonized Venus and Mars, before the Earth. So these 4 historical events, though mostly hidden from the general public, have been momentous in cosmos, and have provided spirit with a very real opportunity to change the course of Earth human history, from one of darkness and slavery, to one of full consciousness and freedom. Let me summarize the 4 pivotal events for you, again. 1. Humanity had safely passed the final historical test, leading to planetary advancement, following a peak in the potentialities for full-scale nuclear war, being halted. So that in the 1980s, humanity had learned lessons and seriously become aware of the need to prevent a full-scale nuclear war, and instead work towards peaceful cooperation between nations, and an end to dangerous Cold War nuclear brinkmanship, which threatened the survival of the biosphere. 2. Changes to human RNA-DNA, causing an active third strand development and setting the scene for mass ascension. Earth scientists were so alarmed, they held secret and urgent international conferences, leading to more comprehensive investigations into said genetic changes, throughout the 1980s. Mutation was viewed as potentially devastating to the population. That junk DNA was alive and active, caused alarm among geneticists, forcing them to research more fully what they had prior assumed, in error. 3. A mandated change of Galactic Federation of Light Star Nation responsibility for Earth's spiritual advancement in the 1990s, from one star nation, at the time, habitually sedentary, to another, much more proactive. 4. A change of policy by former Dark Off-world overlords, seeking a new dispensation for Earth and drastically reversing what they had once vehemently adhered to, since the fall of surface humanity into limited consciousness. This policy change was brought about by the agreed, 1994 Peace Treaty of Ankara, and an end to millennia of cosmic wars, between the Galactic Federation of Light and the Dark Ankara Alliance. Now, we have observed several members on Astra Command Crew, suggesting that ET intervention is against the prime directive of the Federation, and that humans on Earth must sort out their own affairs, without any form of assistance from Cosmos. We must beg to differ, as certainly, one does not lay a policy on the basis of a fictional television serial known as Star Trek. Some may confuse the two, but we do not. There are certain mitigating circumstances that permit direct ET intervention here on Earth. The real Galactic Federation has a very special interest in Earth people and a vast compassion. Moreover, so too does Lord Sharia, the Galactic Logos, and his superior, Prime Creator. So the idea that this limited consciousness experiment is one to be suffered indefinitely and with no hope of legal aid, nor due process of law, is misplaced. There is a law and it is spiritual and has been wisely selected with long-suffering humanity in mind, a compassion that humanity deserves, in spite of apparent dark resistance. The collective whole seeks a forward movement, and that is what the Sirian Star Nation has long supported, and more so than any other Galactic Federation of Light Star Nation. That the human race deserves a better and fairer outcome than to be enslaved and kept prisoner within this matrix hologram, called physical reality, forever. Thus at extremely high spiritual levels in Cosmos, and on surface humanity's behalf, it has been declared that the law of divine grace be adhered to, with regards to this world. Now this is significant and has not always been the policy, but due to mitigating circumstances, is deemed most appropriate and necessary, and you may ask us, what is it that makes such an invocation necessary? And we would suggest that humanity cries out for justice, peace and freedom, and wielding the Sirian planetary baton of responsibility for Earth, have permitted the prospect of a mass ascension, for all Earth humans on surface Earth, indeed a planetary ascension, which the planetary Logos herself has sought. You all know the name, it is Sanat Kumara, who sits upon the throne, surrounded by the 6 Kumaras, or Buddhas, one of which is focused upon humanity and hierarchy. So, the invocation is made by several earthly and heavenly tiers, which authorizes the application of divine grace for a struggling and pained humanity. Now what are the mitigating circumstances we spoke of earlier? They are simply put in the context of an extremely successful dark campaign, which has achieved a most bizarre situation, in which a potential star nation is prevented from achieving full membership of the Galactic Federation of Light, on the grounds that its use of technology remains primitive, albeit designed to be so by the very dark cabal that has long sought to maintain its stranglehold over the human race, those former minions of the Anunnaki themselves. And we speak of the alternative technologies that have been discovered and then rapidly suppressed on several occasions of scientific rediscovery over the decades. That alternative pole to combustion, entropy and death, the life force some call prana, or vril, etheric energy technology, the very same that powers the monocraft, and once did on Earth, in ancient times, and again during the Nazi era, but suppressed from public benefit, by the Western elites, for decades, as considered a threat to the concept of financial debt maintenance. For energy extracted directly from the ether, without the need for a grid, cannot be charged. Profit cannot be made by the corporate powers that be, thus the control system of the cabal prevented the public from gleaning the benefits of clean energy. The current pollution we see on Earth is the result. Another great crime that was committed against humanity was the suppression of all knowledge of the ET reality, and like ET technology, all potential benefit that could be gleaned by humans from access to cosmic cultural exchanges was denied. The elites sought to retain all for themselves and keep the majority in the dark. A very great attack on human development, stunting the spiritual growth of generations over decades. So truly, the cabal had achieved and still does, among many, if not all, an artificial backwardness over the peoples of surface Earth, uneducated, unaware, unprepared and enslaved in subtle, and sometimes less subtle ways, denied the chance to ascend in naturally required guardian numbers, which normally would have occurred, if the removal of such dark distractions had been successfully achieved earlier. Free will has been allowed and the plan recognizes the grand suppression of it by the dark and would now stand to change the game to one of divine grace, as would the master chess player himself. Now, to rectify this darkly and artificially contrived, Machiavellian situation, the just reversal must be a rapid catch-up for the human race, a rapid evolutionary journey, back to a state that would be just and fair, under spiritual law. A return to opportunity for genuine growth and eventual mass ascension. So divine grace demands a mass ascension, and that requires the use of off-world technologies. As for millennia, the dark off-worlders maintained the situation that stunted human growth potential and were only challenged successfully by the 4 factors that we have listed above. And so, we have placed a project before you, for consideration, named First Contact, that culminates in a mass ascension of human beings, in accord with the grace of heaven, which has permitted the use of ET technologies to reverse the spiritual injustices that for far too long have been present under the dark's iron grip. There are several ET technologies that will transform this world for the better and when released to the public, will be most welcome. Chief among these are long-suppressed Atlantean technologies, as well as those developed in the 20th century by the Illuminoids themselves, including the researches of Tesla, Schauberger, Searle, et al. Following the release of the restricted categories of exotic technologies, access to those of the Galactic Federation of Light itself will be permitted, after official first contact, and these are of an even higher order. So some explanations have been provided as to why it is the cosmos and the local spiritual hierarchy have permitted the application of divine grace upon the human race of Earth. You will see that far from being undeserving sinners, as the dark have long taught you, you are loved and cherished by a just and noble cosmic order, which seeks human advancement beyond the constraints of limited consciousness and into your true responsibilities of planetary guardianship, that equality with your cosmic kin affords. To attain a just status, we the Galactic Federation of Light have been permitted to share with humanity a device long held in greatest esteem among those of a true spiritual appreciation, and hinted upon in the annals of Earth history, as a way in which pharaohs may be transformed into gods, or as we prefer to see it, as Sirians make no claims to be gods, a technological method by which an artificially repressed limited consciousness peoples and beloved fellows may attain a just status, unfairly kept from them, namely the real status of full consciousness, by which we are fully expressed in potential, as spiritual beings in physicality. And the means to it, under the law of divine grace, is the use of combined Agarthan and Sirian organic technology, we call monocalibrated light chambers, aka a tailor-made crystal chrysalis cocoon, by which each individual human caterpillar transforms into the most beautiful of superhuman butterflies, a just conclusion to what has been a dark state of natural play and one that needs to be urgently rectified by the Galactic Federation of Light, as per the divine mandate of Lord Sharia. So we act under divine orders and not on the basis of some criminally irresponsible scheme, noting that many past readers seem to equate light chambers with gas chambers. But please remember that in the time of the notorious gas chamber, humanity was subject to the destroyer ray and the Shambhala impact, an impact that ended in 1945, in spite of the arrival of atomic energy and the atom bomb, at its conclusion, and the hydrogen weapons that followed, but were not used in anger, in spite of the efforts to do so, by a minority, among the elites. Mankind does need the help of those who are more advanced, in spiritual terms. Yet, in the hope of a rapid catch-up, we are family, we are all one with Cosmos and part of Sharia's body galactic. Alone, and without the aid of those ascended masters upon the path of Earth service, along with their space kin, humanity would face a bleak prospect. Indeed, each ascended master to date has overcome such a limited state and returned to full consciousness, but the great mass of humanity has been contained, much as fish in a dark net, when some single sprats may leap successfully to freedom. The fact of the matter is, this state is not something heaven can allow forever. A mass ascension is demanded now, and the plan is for it to be accomplished in stages, following a change of governance, planetary cleanup, new fiscal order, new technologies, and a first contact with mass education program. Be ready to see the signs, as they are not far off. Now, keep alert, attuned with the higher self, and keep positive. Do not allow the dark to drag you into negativity. Do not accept the dross and discard the true wisdom. The light awaits you all, at the end of a long tunnel, a long journey and sojourn. Open your hearts to Cosmos, for that is where destiny beckons. With much love and respect, we bid you a bon voyage. Selamat all. Sirian, for be blessed in the love and joy of spirit. Colonel Drekx Omega, Commander, Galactic Federation of Light Ground Crew, Eastern England Sector.